Hi everyone! So glad you're here. I'm SwingTime, and tonight I am joined by Mongoose. Hello, Mongoose.
Hey, Swing. Honored to be here, especially after we got a chance to, in real life, say hello at Clash. So nice to finally hook up in a cast. It's been a long time in coming.
Definitely. Yeah, that's right. I don't think we ever have cast together, so this is
I
gonna be
don't believe
awesome.
so either.
Yeah. So yeah, we did run into each other at the Clash, and that was great. I loved that so much. So tonight we've got a playoff game to cast. That I'm super excited about. This is Division C West for NGS. This is Season 5. This is the quarterfinals between Arrogant Nephalem and Running with Turtles. Are you as pumped as I am, Mongoose?
I'm always pumped when I get to cast on a Friday night because it never happened.
Right? Now we can like have some cocktails afterwards and we get to sleep in because it's the weekend. So let's just go
Maybe
crazy.
cocktails during, you don't know.
Yeah, depending on how things go. So, any thoughts, initial thoughts on this matchup? We've got the number one arrogant Nephilim going against the number 8 running with turtles. I'm going to actually flip over to a standings page so everyone can see the bracket for the playoffs here.
Last season we had a lot of 8-1 upsets and 7-2 upsets. And I think that might be attributed to kind of mentality. When you go in there and you're the clear underdog, not a lot to lose. You can kind of try different things, let it all hang out. But this season, the number 8 seed actually had to win their way in with wildcard weekend, or at least most of the divisions did. So theoretically, running with turtles could be riding some momentum after wildcard weekend as well.
Yeah, definitely. That's a really good point. That wild card weekend was brand new this season, and it was a really fun way to get more teams involved in the playoffs and have an additional way to get in. And now they have to fight through, like you said. They're facing the number one seeded team in the division, so it's game time, right?
Yeah, for sure. I really like, especially as the divisions grew this season, I thought it was a really clever way to try to keep everybody involved throughout the duration of the regular season as opposed to just the top teams who were fighting for something. So it was a fun day event.
No, yeah, definitely. I enjoyed it very much as well. My team actually played. Unfortunately, we
As did
didn't make
mine. You're
it,
not alone.
but it was really fun for sure. So, our first map. Well, first, just so everybody knows, the map bands are Towers of Doom and Cursed Hollow. Our first map is actually going to be Dragonshire. And this is the map choice for running with turtles because Arrogant Nephilim did decide to defer that map choice to them. What do you think of that choice, Mongoose, that they wanted the first hero?
I think all teams are different. I don't think there's a right or wrong answer. Certain teams have comfort picks that are really critical to their success, less so than the maps. And other teams really like certain maps or certain style of maps that they think is more critical to their success. So it's really just, I think, a matter of what works for each individual team.
Yeah, definitely. Well, let's double check here. We've got looks like we've got Arrogant Nephilim ready. Just want to make sure that Running with Turtles is ready before we launch into the game here. While we're waiting, I just want to say hello to everybody out in Twitch land who are watching the stream right now. Hi, welcome. I see a lot of people already chatting. We've got Focus 45 and Bickles in there, Munkus Beaver, and Silver Jackal X XXX.
Jack.
So welcome everybody. Keep chatting. We would love to interact with you as this series unfolds. And okay, looks like the teams are ready. So we're gonna go ahead and launch right into our draft here on Dragonshire.
Swing, what were the map bands? I stepped away for a second, so I did not catch those.
Towers of Doom and Cursed Hollow.
So I'm curious with Arrogant Nephilim deferring map choice. Arrogant Nephilim this season, per Sats of the Storms, undefeated on every battlefield except Infernal Shrines. So I think that tells me that this is a comfort map pick for running with turtles as opposed to a targeted map pick for their opponent.
Yeah, that's actually a really good point. Arrogant Nephilim has had a really great record throughout the regular season. I think they've proven that they're pretty strong no matter what map you take them to. So it kind of feels like Arrogant Nephalem is like, you know what? We just want to get our heroes. We're okay wherever you want to take us. And like you said, running with turtles is just kind of like, well, let's just pick what's strongest for us. And so we do have bans for Whitemane and Dahaka on the side of Arrogant Nephilim. And a Genji ban so far for running with turtles, and then that Kerrigan. Yeah, Kerrigan's really strong after her rework.
That's an understatement. She is all over the place, and in my humble opinion, pretty close to a must ban right now. She is really strong as you get a first pick Asmodan from Arrogant Nephilim, taking their namesake here in the early going.
Yeah, this I've seen them play Asmodan before. I'm sure they're really excited that Asmo made it through to them. Hence the first pick.
Yeah, I think that Kerrigan ban opened up that slot as we have a Deckard Jaina, both big AoE abilities, a lot of slows and some roots coming out of Deckard. That's a whole lot of zone of control there for running with turtles.
Yeah, and it may also be they also might be looking at Arrogant Nephilim's favorite heroes because they pretty much are Deckard and Jaina. So they get to get two really nice heroes and also keep Arrogant Nephilim from getting on some comfort pick.
Yeah, and speaking of comfort picks, Genji and Dahaka played a lot by running with turtles this season. Neither of those available. They're clearly comfort picks for those guys. I would expect Muradin to be banned out by Arrogant Nephilim, and that is far and away the most played tank for running with turtles. And that'll probably force them onto something like a Johanna, I would imagine, is their main tank.
Mm-hmm. And
wow, that's surprising.
Right.
They took it away from themselves.
You're right. It's the opposite. Okay, so that's interesting. So they're probably looking to grab that Johanna, knowing that that's Arrogant Nephilim's favorite tank. And since they know they have the next two picks, maybe that's where they're going with that Muradin ban?
Possibly, but still on the board for main tank, although he doesn't seem highly prioritized by either of these squads, is Diablo still sitting out there. And he's kind of all over the place, top of the tank pool, so surprised to see him slip this far. I imagine one of these guys is going to get a Dibbles and the other probably on that Johanna.
Both these teams also play Garrosh. Just looking kind of at the heroes they've chosen in the past.
And there it is.
All right, we've got Garrosh.
The wait is over.
And Cassia. That's kind of an interesting choice there. What do you think the thought process is behind that Cassia choice?
That to me kind of smells like a comfort pick. I'm flipping through their hero picks, but they actually haven't played a whole lot of Cassia this season. Usually you see Cassia as a reply on something like a Rainer or a Greymane where there's a high volume of auto attack damage, but that hero doesn't really exist on the side of Arrogant Nephilim right now. And speaking of Arrogant Nephilim, ranged assassins overrated. Triple frontline, Johanna, Urel, Ragnaros with the Tyrande and a solo Asmodan damage. Swing, what do you think of that?
Well, I know Ragnaros is a hero that Arrogant Nephilim likes a lot, so I'm not really surprised to see that. And of course, Johanna is by far their most picked tank. That going along with the Urel and the offlane. The Tyrande is interesting. I can't wait to see how that works out. And then we've got a Malthael as the final choice for running with turtles.
Yeah, typically with the Tyrande, usually you see a comp that's built around kind of isolating them, isolating out a target hero and some kind of burst damage. Other than like an Asmo Globe, I don't really see where that burst damage is going to come from unless they opt to use like Sulfurous Smash for that kind of old school. Back in the day, you had the Varian Taunt into Sulfurous Smash that HGC was running for a long time. They could run something similar to that, but beyond that, I don't see where that burst damage is going to come from for Arrogant Nephilim.
Yeah, I can't wait to see kind of their strategy with how they're going to set up their team fights, who they're going to have laning where. You know, this is going to be real interesting. So go ahead and introduce our team. So on the blue side, we do have Arrogant Nephalem. And it's going to be Trabe on that Asmodan, Dakilidin playing the Ragnaros, Kime on Urel, Null Pointer on the Tyrande, and Johanna will be played by Segatai.
And for the side of Running with Turtles, we have Alizar on Malthael, Tank Snipe on Deckard Cain, Legacy on Garrosh, Silver Jackal on Jaina, and Radiata on Cassia.
So what do you think we might see with the laning situations with these lineups here? Probably the Malthael for Running with Turtles.
Well, the Malthael and the Urel question mark, I would guess in the top lane, although Rag could certainly do it. I think the Urel matches up better with the Malthael. Here, both teams kind of clashing in the 5-on-5. Johanna really hurt, as is Tyrande, I should say. Great toss by Legacy.
Yeah, really nice route by Deckard Cain there.
That's actually... That's a great segue into my first thought when I look at these comps is in these rotations with a Deckard Cain and a and a Jaina and a Garrosh, there's a lot of kill pressure on the side of Running with Turtles if Garrosh is able to catch anybody in these rotations.
I agree. It's actually a little scary with the Garrosh throw, and you've got the follow-up roots from Deckard, and then of course Jaina slowing everybody, dropping that Blizzard. It could get real scary really quickly if Arrogant Nephalem isn't careful with their positioning.
And I love this invasion by Running with Turtles. They kind of recognize that they have a stronger early game. There's the toss onto Asmo, the Jaina, the Scroll of Sealing. Asmodan still very low. Trabe escapes, no, but Legacy might be caught as a counter kill. Not quite yet. Garrosh is very hard to bring down, and he's able to walk away. Was at less than 200 hit points at one point there.
I can't believe Legacy escaped right there. That was crazy.
So nice aggressive play by Running with Turtles to invade the Giants, take them out from under Arrogant Nephalem, and get the Asmodan in the exchange as well.
Yeah, I think when you're the underdog, you got to play a little aggressively, make something happen, right? So I really like their aggressiveness.
Especially when I think the Running with Turtles comp is more tilted toward the early game with the Garrosh early kill pressure and the Arrogant Nephalem with the stacking Asmodan. Definitely a little more late game tilted as well.
Yeah, looking at the talents real quick, are we seeing anything out of the ordinary here? We got a Meteor build for Rag. Everything else is pretty...
The Garrosh build is pretty standard. The heroes that I'm comfortable with, the Jaina build is pretty standard. Tyrande opting to go with the actually spell armor instead of the cleanse at 1, but Running with Turtles able to sneak a 2-minute and 50-second DK right from out under the nose of Arrogant Nephalem.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a surprise that they were able to grab that right there. Here we've got Molten Core.
And a good rotation just to kind of leave the Molten Core there and go somewhere else. Really good decision.
Yeah, I like that as well. We're going to go ahead and push in on this bottom fort. Meanwhile, it looks like Malthael's rotating down to cover the soak in the middle.
Yeah, Malthael did take on a Pale Horse, so we'll be able to double soak pretty effectively.
So early Dragon, it's already down. They were able to get most of the gate, one of the towers and half of the other.
Now here's the Jaina. She wasn't there on the initial toss, so the burst damage wasn't really available from Running with Turtles. The Legacy is doing a nice job of just kind of hovering around the flanks in these bushes, not really showing himself, and jumping on whoever from Arrogant Nephalem presents themselves for a toss.
Yeah. I agree. He's just the threat of a throw is, can really throw off your opponent.
So Running with Turtle is really showing a higher prioritization on the camps right now than Arrogant Nephalem, doing a little bit better of a job of controlling them. As actually, I don't think Arrogant Nephilim has gotten any yet. Now just getting onto their siege camps, whereas Running with Turtles has already picked up 3.
Right, yeah, because Running with Turtles was able to steal their siege camp last time, and they're actually heading that way again. They're going to be a little late.
Johanna's going to be in trouble when her shield goes off. There's the toss from Legacy, the Blizzard, to intercept her, but not quite the damage they're able to finish off. Nice job by Legacy waiting for that Iron Skin to go away before tossing the JoJo there.
Yeah, that would have been pretty nasty if Running with Turtles had been there about 5 seconds earlier. Would have had a shot at stealing another camp. At the top, we've got Malfield pushing in with the Merc camp. Yrel doing a great defensive job up there, though.
Yeah, I think the double soak from the Malthea with On a Pale Horse has just kind of given them the opportunity to control the bottom half of this map, staying in largely a 4-man without the responsibilities of having to soak.
Oh wow, is this going to happen again? Is this about to happen again?
And it is.
No way!
Running with Turtles securing their second DK in less than 6 minutes.
That was a really good job. And here comes the Molten Core again. Let's see if they switch lanes again.
They finish off mid wall and then rotate down to bottom where they can hook up with the Siege Giants that are already pushing down bottom lane.
Garrosh stuck in a little bit of an awkward position, but he is okay.
Yeah, able to use the self-cleanse there. And the armor with a little assist from the punt from Jaina and the Dragon Knight.
So, still pretty good defense by Arrogant Nephilim. The Dragon's getting really, really low. It's almost down, actually.
However, level 10's here for Running with Turtles, and now Malthiel has joined the party.
Oh, wow. Stay Wow and Listen catches 2. Silver Jekyll getting low on the Jaina in the back. Null pointer!
So no kills secured by either side, despite Tyrande, Jaina, and Deckard all being pretty low, but Running with Turtles able to pick up the bottom fort, and a full level lead there.
Yeah, I like how they know when to walk away, you know? They're not trying to push too hard and get a couple of their teammates picked off and let Arrogant Nephilim kind of like turn the game back around. They're being aggressive, but they're backing off at the right time, I feel like.
Yeah, not overstaying, especially as Arrogant Nephilim had just picked up their heroic abilities. They're really doing a nice job of being pretty decisive in their rotations, no hesitation, back up, bottom camp, and then rotate around. Really controlling this map stronger than Arrogant Nephilim is, and it's giving them the opportunities to try to set up bush ganks here, as it looks like they're invading these Siege Giants one more time, Swing.
Yeah, Legacy setting up an anchoring position. We're going to have a fight.
Starfall splits out. Legacy could be in trouble, completely isolated from his squad. Nice scroll of sealing, though, from Deckard Cain.
Yep, Garrosh finally goes... Oh, huge ring! Stay a while, delays, but... we're going to be seeing some heroes dying on the side of Running with Turtles. That was a really nice team fight by Arrogant Nephilim.
Yeah, huge flank by Kime on the Yrel.
Yeah.
Kime on the Yrel, jumping over the wall, arriving just in time to help his team secure an ace. Not just an ace, but actually their first kills of this game will parlay into their first DK of the game, and Arrogant Nephilim showing why they were the #1 seed in C West this season.
Yeah, that was a really great adjustment by them. Fantastic team fight. We'll see what they're able to do with this Dragon Knight. We didn't really talk about their heroics. I think most of it, we got the Lava Waves for Ragnaros, Ardent Defender, of course, Starfall we already saw, Blessed Shield for the Johanna, seeing the Stale Away. Listen, we've got the Taunt, of course, from Garrosh. Last Rites... that Ring of Frost that was so nasty just now, and Valkyrie for the Cassia.
Yeah, the other thing that may be an adjustment for Running with Turtles is taking that fight in that kind of narrow jungle area, when that big globe comes in, they basically have nowhere to go. So maybe try to take those engagements in a little more open areas if they can, so they can't just get caught by one massive globe, because that thing is starting to do a ton of damage, currently
Yeah.
sitting at 248 stacks.
Yeah, that's a lot of stacks. And it's just gonna keep getting worse. Got a Valkyrie attempt that didn't catch anyone.
A toss and a taunt, scroll of sealing, all the Jaina damage.
Wow.
They do catch the Tyrande. 3 caught in the
Comes
stay
a
a while and
lava
listen.
wave.
But the lava wave catches out Malthael. Cassia probably in trouble. Down she goes, but Jaina and Garrosh able to get a counter kill onto Rag.
Wow.
And a barroom brawl ends up with 2 dead on each side swing.
Honestly, I thought that that was going to turn out even worse from running with turtles. So great job on the counter kill. So that went a lot better than it could have for them, for sure.
Yeah, I actually thought they were in a lot more trouble than they did. They managed to avoid the worst of that lava wave, and the last minute kill on the Rag was pretty big for them.
I think running with turtles were thinking about going up and maybe trying to get a gank on your L, but then they remembered it's your L.
Yeah, ganking your L is usually not successful. That's a pretty tough thing to do.
Yep. Both teams picking up their bruise camps.
Look at that. The globes from Asmo now are just one-shotting the waves.
So we do see Arrogant Nephalem stepping up their camp game for sure, and it feels like that's making a difference with the map pressure.
Yeah, you have to think that with as fast as they stacked this Asmo in the early game, they were content to give where they needed, not so much worry about those mercenary camps, and really focus on stacking that Asmodan, because a stacked Asmo is just so critical to what they're trying to do this game with this composition.
Yeah, so they're just kind of playing patiently, not trying to push too hard, getting their Asmo stacks, and hoping for a late game comeback, essentially.
So 16 advantage here for Arrogant Nephalem. It looks like both sides kind of posturing around a 4v4. Malthael is rotating to mid, but Yrel will take the top shrine before he gets there. No DK here for running with turtles.
By the way, thank you, Weenus, for the cheer. I definitely appreciate it.
Tank Snipe with the huge peels with story time, probably saving Cassia there. That was a pretty big stay a while and listen used on the retreat.
Got Arrogant Nephalem taking control of... See if they can they sneak in there and get this? I think they can.
Yeah, they got it.
This is, you know, getting to mid to late game Dragon Knight could really do some damage here.
Yeah, we didn't talk about it after the draft. However, with Lava Wave from Ragnaros, Asmodan's globes, one-shotting waves, and Asmo's General of Hell, there's going to be basically constant map pressure building throughout this game from Arrogant Nephalem onto running with turtles.
Right. What do you think the play is here for Arrogant Nephalem? Just pick up all the forts, or do you think they should move in on one of these keeps?
I mean, the longer this game goes on, the more it's going to play in their favor with the stacking Asmodan. Now they're backing up into a Molten Core. Oh. Great move. Triple stun. Cassia in trouble, running for her life, and she will... waiting for the Asmo Globe. Get out alive, but barely. A nice ice block by Jaina probably saved her life.
Oh, look at that stun in the Starfall. Gorgeous.
And Malthael having 51 hit points, but able to get away.
Look at that
almost
Asmo.
Taking out Jaina and Decker. Now they get him. Johanna iron skinning to safety.
Valkyrie doesn't quite catch anybody again. Arrogant Nephalem still aggressing.
There's just so much pressure with the poke and the wave push from Arrogant Nephalem. Johanna now might be in trouble, maybe, but the General of Hell and the summonses from Asmo there to tank the keep, get Jaina out alive.
Yeah, and look, they almost got that keep. Like you said, Arrogant Nephalem still have the 4. They're going to steal some Merc camps of their own here.
Yeah, at this point in the game, Arrogant Nephalem caught up faster than I think they needed to. Running with Turtles in trouble. They really wanted to take that early game lead they got and get more out of it. They weren't able to hold that for as long as they needed to, or take as much of a lead as they really needed to with an Asmo comp.
Yeah, and Arrogant Nephalem just trying to chunk away at this keep. They've got Asmo throwing in globes, trying to finish it off, but it looks like they're going to go ahead and back out here.
I mean, I think if they would have hung out eventually with the Asmo globes, they would have picked up that keep. I mean, that thing is just barely hanging on.
But Running with Turtles aggressing here. They want to take this fight before Arrogant Nephalem hits level 20. Oh, that Starfall.
Swing, that's exactly what we said they couldn't do earlier. That choke point, they're fighting into a globe and a starfall with nowhere to go. They fought in that same spot twice.
Yep.
With a cumulative loss of 9-0.
Yeah, that spot is definitely not the place they want to be, for sure. Arrogant Nephalem is easily going to take down this keep now, and maybe work on a second keep? Let's see what they do.
Are they eyeballing core? They have
are.
bottom lane. 10 seconds till the full team is up for Running with Turtles. This is going to be close, but I think they're going to be able to do it.
Yeah, they've got Asmo putting so much pressure on this core. Look at the laser going out. Here we've got Running with Turtles respawning.
And baiting into the Molten Core one more time.
Oh, nice stun. Double kill on the Cassia and the Malthael. And I believe, Mongoose, this is it. Game 1 is going to go over to Arrogant Nephalem.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, if you take away those 2 fights, this game was pretty close. But those 2 fights in that choke point was so bad for Running with Turtles and so decisive in favor of Arrogant Nephalem there. They just couldn't catch up once they were able to retake the early game deficit away.
Yeah, things were looking really bad for Arrogant Nephalem in the early game there. But like you said, they were trying to build up the stacks for Asmo, and they were just being patient. It looks like, knowing they were going to be real powerful later in the game. Looking at, I have the stat screen pulled up right now. It was 15 kills to 5 in favor of Arrogant Nephalem. And we're just looking at, Tunja's Siege from the Ragnaros. Just really well played. Both teams actually played excellent.
Yeah, there's the fights in the choke. I mean, you take away those 9 kills in that choke points, and it's actually 6-5 in kills. So I think maybe if Running with Turtles picks their spots a little better, because it just played to the strengths of everything that Arrogant Nephalem had fighting in those particular spots. Both times, Garrosh just got split away with the Starfall. Globes crashing onto the back line, wreaking havoc on poor Cassia and Jaina.
Yeah, Jaina had some really nice rings. There were times where, Running with Turtles did still end up losing the team fight, but the rings seemed pretty spot on from Jaina.
So what I always like to ask when I'm casting, especially as a series develops, when you're the team captain, Swing, and you're looking at these games, what changed your minds on the bans from game 1? If you're Running with Turtles, who do you want to ban from Arrogant Nephalem and vice versa?
Well, I wouldn't want him to get the Asmo. The Ragnaros was really nasty as well, though, right? With the Molten Cores. I mean, I guess they could think a little bit more about having stuns and the ability to stop Ragnaros from being able to Molten Core, because it doesn't look like they really had much here. They had the Garrosh stun, I guess. That's pretty much it, right?
Yeah, they really didn't have a great way to interrupt it, but also Arrogant Nephalem, probably one of the, I think, the best teams I've seen about being aware of using Molten Core offensively. So much of that ability is a defensive tool. But you saw in that game how Arrogant Nephilim was actually able to use it as an offensive tool. They kind of just fell backwards just a little bit into range of that recently destroyed structure. Ragnaros popped the Molten Core, and when you're doing it from that angle, if Rag is on the backside, it doesn't matter how many interrupts you have, you just can't get that far back to interrupt it.
That's a great point. So I think a lot's going to depend on what map we go to next, but I think the Asmo is a definite problem. So that's probably the hero that I would not want to play against if I were running with turtles.
And I think on the flip side, maybe overlooked in how that game went, but I actually thought the Deckard Cain was really impactful. He had a huge stay a while and listen. He was pretty on point with the follow up CC and setting up Jaina for some damage. So if I'm Arrogant Nephilim, that might be a target going the other way, maybe keeping that Deckard Cain away from them. Because
Mm-hmm.
I thought I was pretty impressed with the Deckard Cain play in that game one.
Yeah, you're right. The stale vials were really good, and the roots were pretty fantastic. Arrogant Nephilim just did such a great job in those team fights. It felt like the tools were there for running with turtles, but it was just so much incoming damage that they couldn't really survive.
So on pins and needles, Swing, has Running with Turtles decided
I've been
what's
talking with them, and
I heard you typing
I
furiously. I
know,
figured I
right?
should
And
give you
sorry if I know you all heard me typing furiously, but I did talk to Tank Snipe, the captain for Running with Turtles, and they are opting to pick the map for game two. The team that loses, just so everybody knows, has the choice for game two if they would rather pick the next map or get first hero pick. They are going to take Battlefield of Eternity.
Hmm.
So Battlefield of Eternity for Running with Turtles is where we are headed. I'm going to start getting that set up. What are your thoughts on that while I get started here?
When you change from a map like excuse me, Dragonshire to Battlefield of Eternity, which are two very different animals, I think that limits how much information you can take, from game one to game two. Asmodan was a huge problem in that game one.
Mm-hmm.
However, on Battlefield of Eternity, is it worth the ban? It's much more difficult to stack him. The map pressure is less relevant. It's probably his least impactful or one of his least impactful maps. So the changing dynamic of the map will be interesting to see what these teams do regarding the draft strategy and who they ban or don't ban,
Yeah.
switching from a large rotation 3 lane map to a smaller team fighty 2 lane map.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, maybe they're almost in essence banning Asmodan, right, by their map choice so that they still
Sure.
have those ban slots available for other heroes.
But Rag, still very much a thing on BOE, can be used defensively against the Immortal. They played him really well.
Mm-hmm.
So I would consider the Rag ban if they thought that was a problem, because Ragnaros can be effective on BOE.
Definitely. I was looking at some of the heroes that Running with Turtles really likes, and Greymane is top on their list for assassins. It looks like that could be a hero that they're aiming for here early, possibly on this Battlefield of Eternity, where we've got the race, the Immortal race.
Yeah, and Li Ming as well is one of their preferred assassins, and she can't quite race like the Greymanes and the Hanzos can. But Li Ming is probably the most effective assassin at being able to poke out the Immortal safely from distance.
Mm-hmm.
She can kind of stand in that middle area and poke away without really putting herself in harm's way if she positions properly.
Yeah, that's a
So
really good point. Li Ming, like you said, she's not a shredder, but she's a poker, and her orbs do quite a lot of damage, and a lot of people going the missile build now on the Li Ming as well. That can be really strong here on Field of Eternity.
Yeah, and when the Li Ming is lobbing in the damage with the magic missiles and the orbs, the other team kind of has to decide if they just want to let their immortal eat the damage or they want to let somebody step in front of it. And if you're Li Ming, either way, you're fine because it's effective damage. You're either poking down the enemy team or poking down the immortal.
Yeah, definitely. So Li Ming, not a really high prioritized hero for either team, but I believe both teams have played her in the past. Um, Actually, I'm sorry, I take that back. Li Ming has been played quite a bit by Running with Turtles. Now that I'm looking back, looks like they played her 7 times. So definitely something we might see. We've got the White Mane ban once again coming out from Arrogant Nephalem.
Now let's see if we have a ban that's a result of game one, or if we have like a map Hanzo ban here, and it is going to be the Asmo ban.
Okay, well, interesting. There goes my theory about using the map to.
I like the theory, but they just taking no chances.
Yep. Got a lot of people in chat. Really seeming to enjoy the series. Thank you again for participating. I love seeing your guys' comments. Monk is Beaver pointing out that Rag is not great on BOE, and I would definitely agree.
I was wondering if they were going to ban out the Kerrigan or the Hanzo, because they kind of had to let one of them through, and then the other one picked by Arrogant Nephalem. And I think that's kind of a result of Running with Turtles feeling forced to ban the Asmodan there.
Yeah. Oh. I don't know if it was worth giving them the Kerrigan. That scares me.
They basically felt like they had to give up either Hanzo or Kerrigan, and they decided they would rather not have Hanzo's burn on the battlefield.
That's fair, and we do have the Li Ming that we were just talking about coming out for Running with Turtles, along with Tyrande, who's going to be able to debuff that Immortal and allow Running with Turtles to do even more damage in the race.
And not just debuff the Immortal, but if she can stay out of Kerrigan's way, Tyrande lacks a little mobility. It's one of her weaknesses. But if she can keep Kerrigan off of her, you can actually Hunter's Mark onto a diving Kerrigan as a little bit of a soft counter to her as well.
I love that. We also have Jaina and Deckard, two big comfort heroes for Arrogant Nephalem. So right now I'm a little scared what I'm seeing from Arrogant Nephalem, but I'm liking, especially with your comment about using the Tyrande kind of to help blow up the Kerrigan. I'm really interested to see the other heroes that Running with Turtles chooses. What would you expect? Like a real defensive type tanks?
Well, Muradin is kind of their top choice tank throughout the season, so if that's their comfort pick, that's what I would expect, especially with Garrosh taken off the board. So a Muradin is who I expect. I also like Diablo. I think he's solid on BOE, other than he struggles a little bit with the restacking of the souls if he dies. But Muradin or Diablo is who I would expect. Gives them some CC and durability to move that Kerrigan around.
Yeah, I think we'll see the Muradin. I think you're right, because that is one of their favorite tanks. It's available. Oh. Okay, it's going to be ETC. And then Artanis, of course, this is a great map for Artanis. Able to do so much damage on that Immortal. It seems clear to me that Running with Turtles, they want to race this Immortal.
Yeah, they have the Hunter's Mark, the Li Ming, and the amateur opponent coming out of Artanis.
So let's see the response from Arrogant Nephalem. Thrall. There's that Diablo.
So once again, going back to a big front line with a solo back line for Arrogant Nephalem.
Yeah, I really like their comp. You got the classic Diablo Jaina combination. So much slowing and rooting, and you've got Diablo who can dive in with Kerrigan. So Kerrigan's not kind of like hung out to dry alone, you know? I like it.
And not only that, the slows from Deckard and Jaina, or even Earthquake from Thrall, kind of holding Running with Turtles in place for Kerrigan when she opts to dive in there and take the Maelstrom. There's just so much slows there. There's really no way to get away from a solid Kerrigan engage here.
And it's going to be Genji rounding out the team for Running with Turtles. Their comp is quite interesting. I would think we'd see Mosh, right? Or do you think we might see Stage Dive?
I think it's got to be Mosh, even with all of the interrupts that are potentially on the other side. One good late game Mosh can just turn a game completely around. And on a smaller 2-lane map, I don't know how much value you're going to get out of a stage dive as a global. I guess you would use it as more of an engage.
Mm-hmm. Like to get to the back line. But I think you're right. I think that they need that threat, right? They need the threat of the Mosh, I think, to deter the Kerrigan and the Thrall and the Diablo all running forward, just kind of having free reign. All right, well, here we go, everyone. We're going into game 2. We've got Trey playing Jaina, Dekilidin on Thrall, Null Pointer on Deckard. Hime will be on that Kerrigan. Segatai playing Diablo.
And for Running with Turtles, we have Tank Snipe on Tyrande, Legacy on ETC, Alizar on Arctanus, Silver Jackal on Li Ming, and Radiata on Genji. I am not going to lie, Swing. I am very concerned about Running with Turtles this game. The comp that Arrogant Nephalem has
is terrifying.
Is really scary.
It is. All the heroes seem to work really well together. They've got so many roots. Oh, man.
And ETC, while his recent little mini health buff really helped him, for a main tank, he is still on the squishy side. So Legacy really going to have to pick his spots. Otherwise, he could be in a world of hurt.
Yeah, agreed. It's got to be a little strange going from Invincible Garrosh to ETC. As a tank, you have to remember you are much squishier than you were on Garrosh.
Yeah, Garrosh, one of the... oh, it's actually Tyrande who gets caught. Legacy trying to peel, but Diablo just manhandling it. He does get caught on the scroll of ceiling, and that's what I was talking about there. Look at how low Legacy is from trying to peel there. Going from one of the tankiest tanks in the game to one of the squishier tanks is going to be quite an adjustment. Tyrande again getting caught in the Kerrigan combo that was actually intended for Genji for the second time.
Both teams getting pretty low. A lot of work being done on Segatai, on the Diablo, bringing him down low.
Now, what I will say about Running with Turtles comp is if either of these teams wants to play around with low health pools, it's the double reset comp of Li Ming Genji.
Radiata! Oh, man.
I mean, with the Genji resetting and Li Ming getting the resets, they would love to see this game just have all of these health pools hover so low, as it's actually Running with Turtles who picks up a not quite full-souled Diablo as first blood. Those early game Diablos not quite as hardy as they get to be a little bit later.
Yep, that's very true. And yeah, I think that you're right. The double reset is going to be critical for Running with Turtles. They can't afford to, go into a team fight and get all 5 members really low and not pick up a kill with this type of they need.
But speaking of that double resets, there isn't an easy target for them to blow up. Triple frontline, Deckard cane is pretty sturdy for an old guy with a cane. And Jaina, especially after she gets her ice block, that there's no real easy targets to proc those resets for Running with Turtles.
Yeah. I can't wait to see what happens, because you're right. I mean, that's really kind of their only shot, right? Is trying for the Jaina, trying for that Deckard. But if they can't get past the front line, that's going to be a problem. Nice power slide out by ETC. Hime getting super low and is going to fall on that Kerrigan. Counter kill on that ETC. And running with turtles. 2 deaths are going to have to back out a little bit. Got Jaina heading up to clear that camp in the top lane, and meanwhile, 3 members of Arrogant Nephalem working on the Immortal.
You know, in the early going here, Diablo has taken a lot of damage from running with turtles. And that's not going to be nearly as effective once he stacks up. They're definitely going to have to switch their target prioritization. But it might be a matter of Diablo is really the only one they can hit. And if that's true, that they can only get their damage onto Diablo, running with turtles is going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah, it did seem like they did a pretty good job of focusing the Kerrigan down in that last team fight. So we'll see if maybe they kind of keep up with that direction with their team fighting. Arrogant Nephalem about to pick up the Immortal. Kerrigan down again. Swap onto Dakilidin. Nice root by Deckard.
So despite the Kerrigan death, though, Arrogant Nephalem does secure a very healthy Immortal that will start pushing down this top lane.
Yep, so it looks like they're going to send Artanis bottom. The other 4 are going to move up and start defending this Immortal. Legacy out there pretty far on ETC. Nephalem moving in. They'd love to pick up a fort here, but I don't think they're going to quite get there.
No, not without a pick. If nobody goes down from running with turtles, this fort's going to be standing. And after the first Immortal, 3 kills to 2 in favor of running with turtles, and even a slight experience lead for running with turtles, despite actually losing the first objective.
We could have a fight up here at the top camp.
Man, this is a full-on brawl, and Kerrigan going down one more time.
Radiata down.
Not able to get away. ETC barely able to, but Diablo going down, and now the resets for Leeming starting to take effect. She also did pick up her. Yeah, well, she also got Calamity, so that's one more ability for her to do damage with that she didn't have before. So, those tight quarters there, you're certainly going to see Calamity starting to have an effect.
Yeah, I like that pickup as well, because later on, you know, when Leeming's able to get where she blinks farther and she gets the shield when she blinks, that's going to be so helpful when dealing with a Kerrigan and Brawl and Diablo.
Yeah, I wouldn't know what that's like. I am the master at playing Li Ming and leaving my opponent 4 health after teleporting onto them.
And you're like, uh-oh.
I'm like, oh, I'm in trouble. So Li Ming staying in the top. Everybody else from both teams is rotating to this bottom camp. Running with Turtles sniffed it out, wisely backed up. Genji harassing the late rotating heroes a bit. But bottom camp will go over to Arrogant Nephalem here.
We've got Knight725 in chat pointing out that that's a mega kill at 13. She doesn't even have the OP shit yet. Good point. We'll see how this unfolds.
Now, Running with Turtles is going to win the race to 10 for the second game in a row. I really want to see them take that advantage and take this objective with it.
Yep, so we've got both teams working on their Immortals. Of course, we've got the Tyrande Mark helping out.
So ETC is side-soaking. Everyone else from Running with Turtles is on the objectives. Thrall doing the same thing for his squad. However, they are in offensive positions, and Running with Turtles is just now getting there. Arrogant Nephalem, I thought, would be in a position to take advantage. Now they're backing up as level 10s are here for Running with Turtles, and they are moving into position.
I'd like to see Running with Turtles send Artanis over, at least, to start working.
That's what they're doing.
Yep, perfect.
Yep, that's a good call. And I love the invasion onto the Bruisers, although level 10's picked up now, so more discretion coming out from Running with Turtles, picking their spots a little more. Artanis very close to securing this objective. Now this is a 5-on-4. Genji recognizing he was in wall slam distance, very wisely backed up. But a really nice job by Running with Turtles to leverage that, I don't know, 20 to 30 seconds they had with level 10s into picking that objective up cleanly and really with no losses. They didn't even have to take a fight. They just pressured appropriately.
Yeah, they really played that pretty much perfectly there. I was really
Now
impressed.
it is Mosh Pit by Legacy. Keep in mind, a nice Lunar Flare onto Kerrigan. She's in trouble. Mosh Pit catches nobody. I think they wanted to make sure they secured the Kerrigan kill.
Yeah,
but she was already dead before the dance party started.
Right, but like you said, they just wanted to make sure she was out of the way. Now this gives them some, you know, some power to move in on this fort. They did send Artanis up against Thrall in the top lanes. They're catching the soak up there as well.
So for the fine folks at home, Running with Turtles went with Starfall, Mosh Pit, X Strike, Suppression Pulse, and Disintegration Beam.
Ooh. Okay.
Arrogant Nephalem counting with Ring of Frost, Sundering, Stay a While, and Listen. There's those two abilities. Genji is in trouble. Down he goes.
Nice follow-up stun by Segatai on the Diablo. Legacy in trouble as well with the Blizzard coming down and the entire team chasing ETC, who will fall.
And it is actually going to be the new and improved Ultralisk and Lightning Breath for Diablo.
I'm excited about the Ultralisk. I think that's a fun skill shot to get that stun when you bring it out.
You know, when I saw the rework video for Kerrigan, I didn't really think much of it, but it's kind of been the new hotness. Everyone seems to really like the Ultralisk.
Yeah, I mean, it's just so nice for engaging in, right? Kind of reminds me of like Hanzo's Arrow type of a thing.
Mm-hmm. And Artanis in trouble.
Oh, what a beautiful play!
Dash away,
He's gonna die anyway, but that was really nice. He was able to dash and avoid the Kerrigan combo.
So Swing, 11 minutes into this game, structurally dead even, kills dead even, experience dead even. This is serious. Each team even has a Merc camp pushing in the opposite lane of one another while they both kind of hover around their own bruisers. This is like as close of a game as you could have.
It really is. I am loving it. I mean, you always want exciting games. You don't want to see, you know, a walkover by either of the team. So this is really exciting.
But this next objective, this team fight that's going to happen here very soon, all heroics up. It's going to be huge in deciding the outcome of this game here.
Definitely. And Arrogant Nephalem always so scary in the team fighting. I think Running with Turtles just needs to be careful not to get caught in any choke points. Here we go.
Stay a while and listen. Only catches one. Ring of Frost catches none. If Running with Turtles can get out of there, this could be a big win for them, but they can't. ETC, Tyrande, Artanis all go down. A counter kill on the Diablo. Genji able to barely dash away, but a 3-for-1 for Arrogant Nephalem.
Yeah, and that's not the best timing. This is kind of what we were talking about, right? This is going to let Arrogant Nephalem jump on this Immortal.
I thought with Ring of Frost not really getting anybody and Stay a While not really getting anybody, if Running with Turtles could have disengaged and reset, they would have been in a great spot, but Arrogant Nephalem having absolutely none of that.
Yeah, I think you're right. The backing off and then re-engaging might have been the answer there. But they, you know, we're still even. This is still a race on the Immortals. It's pretty even.
Very even.
We're in a race here.
This is going to be close.
Who got it?
Actually Arrogant Nephalem that picks it up by 48 hit points.
So a no-shield Immortal. So Running with Turtles is going to be looking just to mow this down. I mean, it has a fort to go through. They could put up a pretty solid defense here. Gosh. Diablo down again.
Well, without his souls, he's definitely vulnerable one more time.
Legacy in the back line, taking a ton of damage, is going to go down. Li Ming's down, and it's just a bloodbath here. Kerrigan takes out Artanis. Meanwhile, we've got the Immortal down here working on the fort. Now it's going to push forward towards the front gate of the keep.
Yeah, second game in a row, mid to late game, Arrogant Nephalem is coming online here. Kerrigan starting to do Kerrigan things, basically insta-gibbing Genji there. And Running with Turtles may be in trouble one more time, Swing.
Yeah, I think Arrogant Nephalem, they're actually going to back out. They're not going to aggress on the core this time. I like all their matching mounts here. Oh, except Kerrigan's on the pleb horse.
Oh yeah, you didn't catch the commentary in the beginning. They said we have to remake because Kerrigan's on the pleb horse.
Oh, how embarrassing!
Forfeit. That's it.
All right, we've got Arrogant Nephalem. They're going to grab the top camp. Diablo just kind of pestering the rest of Running with Turtles in the top lane. Running with Turtles, gonna try to defend their keep.
Now ETC showing in the bottom lane, so Arrogant Nephalem knows they have a little bit of an advantage until he goes missing, which he just did now. Rotating up, Diablo is anchoring in the back line, so no flanking ETC as Arrogant Nephalem withdraws safely and then counters onto the Artanis. There goes Kerrigan. Blade dash to juke.
Oh,
however, he is not going to juke that. Oh my god, everyone is so low!
Oh, shield going out. Oh, there's the Diablo breath! Artanis is going to survive that, unbelievably.
Man, if you're the side of Running with Turtles, you're like, they're so low, just give me one reset.
Alright, so we did get the one kill onto Genji. Arrogant Nephalem backing out now to grab their bruiser camp. The Immortals spawning in about 12 seconds. Bruiser camp also being picked up by Running with Turtles. So we continue on. I mean, we do have Running with Turtles a little bit behind on structures now. They've got that keep down in the bottom, but they're looking to turn this around here.
Well, this is the time for Running with Turtles to fight. This is really the best shot they're going to get pre-20 once Genji is here, of course, not before.
Yep, Running with Turtles, they started poking on the Immortal, but it's a 4v5. They know they have to back out.
Oh,
that's unfortunate.
Yeah, they just postured too far forward with Genji just spawning and on the way. And Arrogant Nephalem really making him pay, not letting him retreat to where Genji was coming in. And this is going to be pretty close to a free Immortal here for Arrogant Nephalem.
Yep, we're going to get, it looks like possibly the top port picked up by the Merc camp for Running with Turtles, unless Kerrigan's able to stop it. And still, you know, the Mortals are still pretty close.
Yeah, but without Artanis, that's their best burn.
Yep.
There's no real way for them to win a race. They have to contest once Artanis gets here, and that might be too late.
I think it is going to be too late. You see Arrogant Nephalem just pounding on that Immortal. Here comes the Mosh, catches two.
Oh, wow, everybody melting, but it's Genji and ETC who lose all their hit points first, quickly followed by Thrall and Kerrigan, though. And somewhere in that, Artanis went down again. He wasn't up for very long at all. A 3 for 2 in favor of Arrogant Nephalem one more time. They'll secure the Immortal and start pushing down the last structure on the battlefield for Running with Turtles.
Yeah, and right now we've got just Li Ming and Tyrande standing in their way. I don't know if they can save this keep. We're about to find out, though.
Yeah, that battle was just kind of crazy. It's like everybody crashed into each other, pressed their R buttons, and people just started flying all over the place.
Silver Jackal doing the best they can to try to hold off Arrogant Nephalem off this keep as long as possible. The rest of the team has spawned, though, so running with turtles back at full strength.
Yeah, the problem is this Immortal still has its shields. They haven't even gotten into the actual hit points quite yet.
We've got a bunch of heroics about to come off cooldown for running with turtles.
I mean, this is a pretty healthy Immortal. I don't think they're going to push further with Kerrigan and Thrall still on the way. But 2 keeps down, running with turtles, down to their 20s, down both of their keeps.
What? Okay, if you're running with turtles, what are you thinking right now? What do you do to get back in this game?
Well, I mean, you really got to stay in your base and soak till 20. I don't know if Arrogant Nephalem is going to let them do that. However, if Arrogant Nephalem lets you fight under your core, that's not a bad fight to take either. 5-on-5 under your core is okay if there's no minion wave there.
Yeah, looks like Arrogant Nephalem realized that as well and backed out.
Yeah, they kind of thought about it and were kind of like, eh. So I think if you're running with turtles, you get to 20, and at this point, the way for running with turtles to win is they have to win team fights. So you get 20 and you try to find a team fight. Although Arrogant Nephalem decides they don't want to do that, Leeming in trouble. Nice peeling Lunar Flare, but they got the camp and they're going to try to push in with the camp.
Interrupted Mosh. That was a short cooldown if he can live.
I think this is going to be it, Swing.
I think so too. Arrogant Nephalem moving in on the core. Trying to move on to the next round of the playoffs. Core shields are down. Core is down to 62% and falling. Vendors are dropping. Only Artanis and Leeming are left.
Yeah, with 5 members up, only Leeming healthy. Game 2 and the series going over to the number 1 seeded Arrogant Nephalem.
Wow. God, that was a really good game. You know, I just want to say to Running with Turtles that you represented really well coming up through Wildcard Weekend and just trying to take it to the number 1 seed. I thought they played really well, don't you, Mongoose?
Yeah, I mean, in both of those games, the comps partially dictated it, but regardless, they took the early lead in both of those games. They won the race to 10 in both of those games. And for the first, 50 to 60% of both of those games, if you just watched that, you would say the teams were pretty equal skill. Once, I will say though, once Arrogant Nephalem got the lead in both of those games, they do what good teams do, and they did not let go. They left no doubt once they were able to overcome that little bit of an early deficit that they had.
Definitely. They looked so strong. I would definitely be pretty scared if I had to face them next. Speaking of which, let's take a very quick look at the bracket to see who they are facing next. So it is going to be Arrogant Nephalem versus Virtual Murky Slayers in the next round of the playoffs. Here's a glance at the Division C bracket right now. That should be a great game.
Yeah, all the playoffs. I mean, last season the playoffs were excellent. There's a lot of playoff games to watch, so obviously I haven't watched all of them, but the ones that I have watched this season have been and casted have been pretty entertaining. So always a good time when you get to sit down and watch the NGS playoffs.
Oh, absolutely. The playoffs are always exciting and fun. I'm actually talking to Trabe to see if we can get an interview with the captain of Arrogant Nephalem here. And I believe that's who just joined. Trabe, is that you?
Yes, it is. Hello, hello.
Hello, congratulations.
Thank you.
How are you guys feeling right now after that win?
We're feeling pretty good, a little stressed overall. We knew going in that they're a team that likes to just team fight all game, just really dive on you and start fights and never really let you feel too safe on the map. So definitely just, we're a little bit still getting down after the high there.
For sure, I understand, like, having the, your hand shaking because you're so, like, got the adrenaline going so hard.
Every bush could have a garrosh in it. Most of them probably do have garroshes in them.
So let's talk about that. So let's talk about game one on Dragonshire. So you guys decided to not pick the map and actually let Running with Turtles pick the map. Is that because you just felt really strongly you wanted to get the best hero you possibly could, and that's why you wanted that first pick, and you weren't as concerned about the map?
It's part that. It's also just that we feel comfortable on most of the maps. The only one we don't feel super comfortable on is Cursed Hollow, and so we ban it every time. Any of the other 8 we feel pretty solid on. So we figured there just wasn't a huge advantage necessarily to be gained by going map. That I think first hero pick it opens up the draft. It gives you some options that are always nice to have. So we felt it was stronger this time at least.
For sure. So would you say that with the Kerrigan rework that recently happened and the fact that she's being banned so much that's kind of been nice for you guys because it's opened up some more opportunities? Like you were able to first pick that Asmo down, where Asmo usually never makes it ban phase.
Yeah, there's a lot of strong heroes right now that are definitely first pick worthy. I think having that first pick spot lets you kind of control those a little bit more and make sure you get the ones you want. We didn't really know going in how often they liked playing Kerrigan since the rework. So making sure that we had the first dibs at it if it was available, we thought was going to be nice rather than having to eat up one of our bans.
Yeah, so was it kind of like we'll either take the Asmo or the Kerrigan, whichever one they leave us first type of a situation, sounds like?
Yeah, on that map at least. Again, just because, again, Running with Turtles, they love the team fights.
Yeah.
And so a really impactful team fight hero like that can be super valuable. If it was against a different team or on a bigger map or something, we'd consider it. I don't know if it'd be first pick or not, but in that situation, it definitely felt like it was going to be the right call.
Yeah. Any questions, Mongoose, about the draft or the thought process for game one?
Could you guys pick Kerrigan fast enough, and how surprised were you that you actually got through?
Yeah, my teammate Kime, who played the Kerrigan, was very excited and very ready to jump on it. I'm awful at Kerrigan. I'm so bad at Kerrigan. So even though everyone says she's a god, I don't personally quite see it, just because I go out there and I feed 8 times and get no kills and die immediately.
And you're like, I thought she was supposed to be good.
Yeah, she's supposed to be good. Now I jump in 1v5 and I still die. What's the point?
Yeah.
But yeah, Kime said, let me first pick it. I've practiced with it enough. I got this. And
Nice.
for once, I decided to put trust in my teammates instead of ruling over them with an iron fist.
And
This time it managed to pay off.
yeah, because Kerrigan mid to late game was just brutal that game. Second question, because you guys are clearly better at Asmodan than I am. You ran him so well that game one. Do you guys run him on BOE, and were you surprised that they banned the Asmo considering the map? How do you feel he is on Battlefield relative to other battlegrounds?
This is another one where the team is very divided. Unfortunately, I would first pick Asmodan in any situation ever. I was ready to slam that first pick Asmodan on BOE, but I think my team would have had something to say about that. They definitely, I mean, obviously he's going to be stronger on the 3-lane maps, but anywhere where there's team fights, where there's heroes now, he can get the stacks, and he's just strong enough late game that I think it's pretty valuable. So we'll have some more discussion about that in the off week, I think, and decide how we feel in case we end up on BOE again.
I'm really glad you asked that, Mongoose, because at the time we were thinking that maybe BOE was chosen to kind of just get Asmo out of the way without actually having to spin a ban on him. So it's nice to know that Asmo still might have been played if they hadn't banned him. So good job Running with Turtles.
I've played so many games with bad Asmodan that I have to seize the opportunity and take every game with good Asmodan that I can get before the nerfs come in. I gotta make it happen.
So when you guys were playing on Dragonshire, Running with Turtles, they came out really strong and aggressive on you guys. They were invading camps. Were you guys expecting that, or did that catch you a little bit off guard?
We were definitely expecting it because we've seen some of their scrims and seen some of the other games they played, and they're just hyper aggressive, especially when they get that garrosh. They're invading camps everywhere. It's a little bit different, sort of watching them on TV and going, yes, they like to invade camps and wait in bushes, I see. And then playing against them and accidentally walking into a bush and exploding off the map immediately. So there was definitely sort of an adjustment period early game there where we didn't have a ton of damage, and they were more than happy to take advantage of that.
Yeah, you were taking your time building your Asmo stacks, and then like Mongoose was pointing out later in the game, you were actually able to turn that little choke point there by your guys' siege camp in the bottom left there into quite the kill zone. You guys won a couple of team fights there that seemed like running with turtles, they just couldn't get out. You guys were all over them, and it really turned the game at that point, it felt like.
Yeah, we knew that we had the Johanna front line, and we just with the Ragnaros Meteor build and the Asmodan, it's just a ton of big AoE splash damage that Deckard's a solid healer, but even he can't keep everybody up through all of that. We knew if we could make it to late game and get through sort of this early problematic period up until maybe level 7, level 8, we knew the tides would turn around on us, so we just did our best to not lose too much too early, try to keep our forts up, and having Ragnaros always helps with keeping forts up when people are coming in at you.
Definitely, and you guys had some really beautiful baits back into that molten core. Mongoose and I were talking during the game, where like the Dragon Knight backed out and running with turtles moved forward, and then all of a sudden molten core got popped, and you guys were able to do quite a lot of damage. I don't think you got any kills in that particular fight, but it was really well done by you guys. We appreciated that. Any other questions, Mongoose, about the Dragonshire game? So we move on to talking about game 2.
No, game 2, let's go.
All right, so we get to BOE. Obviously, Trabe, you were saying you guys are pretty comfortable on all the maps. Did the fact that BOE is such a different style of map than Dragonshire, how did that change your approach to your draft?
I think the main thing was just sort of, again, keeping the options open with the strong first pick. And once we had the Kerrigan, it was just sort of building a team around that. We don't necessarily tend to adjust our drafts too much for the map, I think. Even on BOE, a lot of teams will go for the hard race comp, and we've always had better luck just sort of going with the team fight comp and trying to take it to you before you can burn the Immortal down.
Right.
So other than maybe a little less focus on wave clear and a little bit beefier of a front line, I don't think our draft plans changed too much necessarily. We just knew that regardless of the map and their team, they were going to engage on us really hard, and we just had to be prepared for it.
Yeah, they picked a really interesting comp against yours. We had the double reset, and then we had the ETC. Did the ETC cause you guys any problems, worried about the Mosh, or were you fine with him?
It was definitely unexpected and threw us off a little bit. In their match history, like the last 6 games that they had played, they had a really set lineup that they like to do. They like Muradin and Greymane and Dahaka and Whitemane and Liming. They just pick these 5 heroes until you ban them. And so we sort of figured, we know what they're going to do coming into this game. They're going to pick those same 5 heroes. And in the last week or so, they have just pulled in a ton of pocket strats. Because they were able to, just pull heroes we had no idea they were ready to play both times and pick team comps that weren't really what we were expecting.
Yeah, like the Cassia in game 1 caught us by surprise because we hadn't really
we were like, we banned Greymane. We got him.
Yeah.
We got him now. And no, that was a pretty good Cassia. Like, they were ready to be thrown off the game a little bit.
Right. Well, Mongoose, what do you think? Game 2, what would you like to ask about?
There was definitely a point in that game where the game changed from one side to the other. Where was that spike in your guys' comp where it went from those losing the early Diablos, the kind of early kills that let you kind of fall behind about a level or so in that 7, 8, 9, 10 range? Was it just the level 10s and now you guys are ready to go?
Yeah, I think it was the 10s and 13s area. There's not any like huge one talent that completely changed how we were able to play the game. But just when you have Kerrigan and Diablo, they are going in very hard. And if they can't get the kill, then we would just get blown up over and over again. So just getting a couple more levels and sort of getting a little more tankiness on them so they could survive that initial burst of Liming Trandy damage. We saw that a lot of the team fights where they jump in, they'd go to about 10% health, and then we'd get some kills off of it right before they died. So being able to get to that instead of they dive in, they explode immediately, and me and Deckard run away with our tails between our legs. Went a little bit better for us in the late game, I think.
Yeah, definitely. It did seem like toward the end there you were thinking about going core, and then you were like, no, maybe not, let's back out. And then you changed your mind again. What was going on comms right then?
Just a lot of screaming mostly about where to go, go take camps, go clear lanes. We saw we had 20 and they didn't, so we wanted to move in, but then we said, oh, we don't have any minions. They're about to get 20, so we got to move out. And then I think one or two people of theirs showed bot to try to soak to 20, and then we said, they're split, move back in. We just kind of shuffled back and forth a little bit until Diablo said, all right, screw this, and just Super Kerrigan dove in and said, we're fighting now.
Nice. Well, it worked out.
I would have been very happy to go clear lanes and wait for the next Immortal, but games don't always go like I want it when I'm not the tank, so it worked out in the end.
Well, good job. At least doing it, staying together and picking one course of action, and the whole team just committed. And it was a great series. That game was so even for so long. It was almost unbelievable. Like the structure damage was exactly the same. Everything was exactly the same, and then just kind of slowly you guys started to pull away there at the end.
Yeah, there's not a lot of teams in Div C West that play that early game pick comp. And running with turtles, just I can imagine they've been doing it all season. They've been catching a lot of teams off guard, just like us. Because a lot of the time you can sort of dirtle around and say, we'll wait till 16, wait till 20. They don't let you do that. So a lot of credit to them to take the fight to us and really keep us on our toes the whole time. It was an excellent series.
Definitely. Yeah. Congratulations again to Running with Turtles for, fighting your way to the playoffs or the wild card weekend. And you guys really gave the #1 seed a little bit of a scare. It definitely was not a one-sided game. That's for sure.
Well, speaking of scare, I want to tip of the hat to your Diablo player. The last push on core, he had what would have been a quadruple mosh interrupt there. I fully expected that to land. So big hats off to your Dibbles player, because that would have been a big play coming out with a late game mosh pit on the ETC there. What was comms like when he hit that interrupt there right at the end?
All I remember is trying to run away and throwing a ring to Peel and be like, I'm out. They got moshed. I'm done. I'm not sticking around here any longer. And then I just looked back and there wasn't a mosh anymore, and it was super exciting.
Yeah, and it's too bad. It was too bad for Running with Turtles that they didn't have a level 20, so they didn't even have a death mosh. A death mosh could have been pretty devastating as well. But they were still 19, so you guys were able to kill the. I saw that the mosh went down on the short cooldown because the interrupt, but you guys were able to kill him before he was able to get it back up off cooldown. So well played, sir. So Virtual Murky Slayers. That's who you're going to be playing in the next round. I'm sure you played them in the regular season. How did that go?
We played them earlier. I'm almost positive that we drew with them, and I was unbelievably tilted out of my mind because they're another team that like Running with Turtles. They like that dive. They like the early game aggression. And that you just don't get a chance to practice against that as much in Div C. So yeah. I think last time I played Gul'dan twice and just was generally ineffective the whole time. So this time we'll have some new stuff in mind for him. We'll get some plans, some schemes. We'll hopefully be able to catch him off guard a little bit and have another good series.
Nice. Well, definitely want to thank you for taking the time to do the interview with us. We really appreciate it. Before we let you go, do you have any shout outs or anything you'd like to say?
Yeah, shout outs to Beast Coast in Div B East. They're sort of our sister team. This was their first season in NGS. Didn't end up pulling into the playoffs, unfortunately, but did have an excellent series or season. They were a ton of fun to watch, and it was great to see how much they've improved. And just, shout outs to all the casters and you guys. It's always great to get on stream and get to see the hype for ourselves and not just have to watch a sad replay after. So thanks so much for taking the time out of your day to do this.
Awesome. It's definitely our pleasure. Anything else you would like to say to Trey before we let him go, Mongoose?
No, just congratulations. And I love hearing, I've heard it a lot more than I thought, actually, teams kind of reaching out and shouting out other teams that they've developed these relationships with, and this kind of simpatico, we pull for you, you pull for us thing. I think that's really cool to hear teams have those relationships. So that was more of an observation than a question. But
nice. Well, Trey, we will let you go start celebrating with your team. Congratulations, and we can't wait to see you play Virtual Murky Slayers in the next round of the playoffs.
Yeah, it'll be a good match. And if anyone else is headed to Hot Shots after this, I'll see you there.
I'll see you there.
All All right. Thanks, guys.
Bye. Thanks, Trey. All right. Well, what a great series. It was really fun. Mongoose, again, I'm so glad that you joined me. Where can people reach you if they want to see more of you?
Twitch.tv/mongoose_22. Twitter, mongoose__22. You have to put the second one or you're going to get an imposter. That's pretty much it. You'll see me around the NGS Discord. I do a little bit of the Twittering if that's your thing. And we'll see everybody around.
Awesome. And for me, I'm here twitch.tv/SwingTime, and on Twitter, I'm at SwingTime again. And feel free to reach out at any point. So again, everyone, just to recap, this was Arrogant Nephalem taking the series over Running with Turtles. They will move on in the playoffs. Well played by both teams. This is NGS Season 5. Get pumped, everybody. Next week, we've got our next round of playoffs in Division C. So definitely come out and see that. And I know there was another Division C game happening at the same time as this one. I'm not sure how that one ended up. But I think it was Sidestep and look at the standings. Sidestep versus Psycho Swarm. I'm not sure if that one's over yet, but that one's being decided tonight as well. So we will have our full bracket after tonight. So definitely stay tuned, everybody. And thank you so much for watching on Twitch and chatting and just being a part of the experience for this great playoff game. With that being said, Mongoose, thanks. It was fun casting with you for the first time.
Yeah, we'll have to do it again. I said long overdue, especially since we got to hang out and chit-chat a little bit at Western Clash. Probably the first time I've done an IRL with somebody on here before actually doing the casting with them. So
that was
fun.
Really cool. Are you going to BlizzCon?
Yes, ma'am. I will be there, and I look forward to it.
I will definitely see you over in the Heroes of the Storm area. I spend a lot of time there.
I'll be there, and dragging the missus with me, so
awesome.
Hopefully she has fun.
Right, and Weenus will be there as well. So we'll definitely look forward to hanging out with you there. And anybody else out there who's going to BlizzCon that wants to come hang out, let's get together.
Yeah, it's a party.
For sure. All right, everybody. We will see you for the next cast, which should be next week as these teams get scheduled up. Thank you again, and have a wonderful night, everybody. Bye.